you in mind. I was created with a couple of handfuls of clay, just a touch of social awkwardness that was just enough to help me stay awake. And after hearing some of the things that good people say, I think that that's okay. A pinch of passion, then he fashioned me out of whatever leftover scraps he had lying around. And after he laid out my basic shape, he replaced my empty insides with a fragile bone structure. 5 or 6 quarts of blood that have this tendency to boil every now and then. A few muscle tendons and a tendency to not being able to control my anger. So I think he made my fists a little bit more tender, so when I punch something out of anger, my wrists would give in. And now, every time I shake hands, I can still hear that cracked computer screen screaming at me. And I can still feel God smiling at me, saying, I told you so. Learn to have self-control. Then you wouldn't have that messed up bone in your hand. You wouldn't have such a weak handshake. He placed a fleshy heart in the cavity of my chest that at best wished it was hard as stone, but really it's fragile as glass, and it doesn't really help that it likes to pass the time hanging out on my sleeve. And I have just enough feeling to realize I could probably get my heart broken a time or 2, maybe 3, but hopefully not more than twice. Hopefully not more than God's every time I replace him with something that just imitates. And somewhere inside my head, he placed my mind. The place where my deepest, darkest thoughts reside. And inside I have this tendency to let my thoughts get the best of me. I keep letting me get the best of me. I've grown to hate that feeling in my chest. I've grown to hate the way my mind runs and runs and runs with no rest. I've grown to hate those voices in my head lying to me. Inside my head, my mind keeps telling me, you are not good enough. You've done way too much to deserve anyone's love. You've strayed way too far to ever feel God's touch. And I have this bad habit of making decisions I know I'll regret one day. So I try not to think about it when I say the words that I don't want to say. I can't stop those voices in my head telling me to destroy everything. So I'll pretend like I don't care, flash this smile, and walk away. But I have this idea. I have this idea that it'd be nice to have big dreams and live life perfectly. That it feels so good if everything went perfectly, that nothing can stop me from achieving my dreams, that no one can change me from who I'm supposed to be. I think the sad part is, as much as I like those ideas, I'd just as much rather let them go. But I'm still hanging on to this belief. I'm hanging on to this belief that I was born with a purpose. I was born with a purpose. Hanging on to this belief that I was born with a purpose, that God met me with the kiss inside my mother's womb. He whispered the dreams he had for me to my still forming ears that may have been clogged with whatever was floating around, or at least that's my excuse, since I don't do the things he told me to. Then he disappeared into the heavens while I clutched myself in mama's belly, waiting for that first breath of air, waiting for that transfer from dependency to self-sufficiency. And with one last painful push, I slipped head first into the steady hands of a doctor who may have helped bring me into life, but who definitely didn't create it, and who definitely can't save me from myself. And when he pinched me looking for that first gasp of air, and I let out that scream, I let out that piercing scream, he let out that sigh of relief that I could breathe, but I think my scream was just acknowledging the fact that I just went from purity to depravity. I think my scream was acknowledging the sad fact that at last I just went from non-existent to consistent sinner. Every now and then I can still hear those whispers. You're better than this. You were created for more than this. You have to live. Don't just exist. Live. How dare you let life circumstances consistently leave you broken and hurting? Don't you remember my promise to you? In your weakness, my grace is made perfect. No, God! God, I remember! I'm still holding on. Life may have knocked me down, but I'm trying to stay strong. I may be on the ground with my face covered in shame, but I swear to you, I'll get back up and start my life again. You see, because I believe the gifts God gave me, He placed them inside of me, and they were only seeds. And He left it up to me to water them so they could grow into a tree. But I never watered them so they could never be, and it's because of me. It's because of me. All these years I've been impatiently waiting on God. God's been patiently waiting on me. He's hanging on to those words that I so foolishly speak. To always be me. To never let anyone even I can barely breathe. And I'll always stay searching for the only thing that fills. Even if I would rather stay empty. I will always be